Okay, so this video gonna be a reaction in some way, a reaction to the new teaser for the new champion that will come out for to Paladin, and when we look at the picture, it looks like it's some kind of a Japanese theme, inspiration of some kind of warrior, monk or some kind of a samurai, but it looks like more like a monastery, like so there's some kind of, I think, more like a warrior monk, and obviously it's like lots of weapons that that in pop culture that ninja use in comics or in movies or in video games are weapons for the samurai. Like most people are most people are used to, when they look at the samurai, they used to see a nodachi, wakizashi, or a katana, or a naginata. But there is so many different weapons that the samurai use, different axe weapon, different polearm weapon, for example, spear, and other heavy weapons like kinabu and so on. Like the axe belong to the heavy weapon, for example, to come through armor and this kind of thing. And that is with every warrior culture have different weapon for different purpose, for different fighting. But because of the samurai is so extremely famous for their use with their katana, and there is a reason why most people always see a samurai, they think, aha, katana. But that is not all. The most of the time, the samurai use some kind of spear weapons. I think the spear weapon called yari. I think this name yari, and the most famous weapon before the katana was the yomi bow. That is some kind of a recurved bow that is they shoot in a special way from horseback and this kind of thing. But this is so spear, bows are the most first weapon. The most common weapon you will see on the battlefield is spears, and then you're gonna see sword. But sword is only good when you fight somebody that don't have very good armor. Most of the time you're gonna use heavy weapon, for example maces and so on, and this kind of thing. So here, the reason why I bring this up is because of my speculation for the new champion. And so I say in my other video, this may sound strange, maybe strange, but I think the new champion is some kind of a samurai centoer. And that is one speculation I have. But this was before I see this picture, this first tease for the new champion. And in the text obviously say, in the whisper of figurine, a clock in the shadow, seen by really seen, as a seen, and so on. So they are told through the realm. So speculation here also many that we see some kind of wind here, but also speculation that there's some kind of a ninja kind of a character. But the problem I have with it is that we already have characters in the game that have used similar tactics, similar fighting styles as a ninja. For example, Maeve, Koga, and the other one, the girl with the purple hair that used the poison crossbow. I totally forget her name. That person that is a rival with Koga, and so on. So we already have, and then we have, for example, Tiberius. We have lots of characters already in the game that fight in some ways like a ninja, have ninja abilities in the game, and this kind of thing. And so on. So what I think is more likely that we're gonna see some kind of a samurai character, and I don't know if the samurai gonna be a classical samurai with the katana and just or is it gonna be some kind of a very special samurai, like for example, as I said before, some kind of a centoer, because they talk about a centoer character before we get Yagura and Wara. For example, before we get Wara, then we get before Yagura. But now we know that we can have character in the game that do not have to ride on a horse to be playable in the game. For example, Yagura, you don't ride with her. She cannot sit on a horse like the other characters in the game. She is like a. So now we know you can do characters that is very different from the rest of the character and still work with other characters in the game and this kind of thing. So it's not a problem anymore because now we have proof that this kind of thing works. So there is a reason why I think it can be possible that we see a centower character, a centower that, for example, half human, other part of is horse with samurai armor and horse armor, and I think they will have some kind of yuri or some kind of battle axe. So yeah, some kind of battle axe, some kind of it's a Japanese battle axe, and this kind of thing. But that also should be very, very cool to see in this game is some kind of inspiration, like a Korean mythical creature in the game. That should be very cool to see some kind of Korean. There's very few games that have a Korean warrior, like a mythical based warrior, like from Korea. Obviously, lots of the Korean armor is in some way similar to armor from the Ming Dynasty and the Yuan Dynasty, because the Yuan Dynasty was the Mongolian dynasty in China that conquered some part of Korea, and lots of time when they invade Japan, they use Korean soldiers and Chinese soldiers to fight against the Japanese. And so later on, obviously, in the inspiration from both sides, like the Chinese and the Mongol, like the Mongolian steppe and all these kind of things. So you get lots of information for each groups of people. For example, how weapons look. For example, in China, later after the Han Dynasty, then the Three Kingdom, and then later on, specifically under the Tang Dynasty, lots of connection with the Sassanid Empire in Iran, and there was connection with the nomadic people, and so on. There's a different thing, yeah, and so on, change and this kind of thing. Yeah, but yeah, so I think this is going to be some kind of Japanese character, and yeah, it's very cool to see. I hope we're going to see something special, something that is different from the pop culture. Like you can be a Japanese character and not have to belong to the pop culture. For example, the most popular thing to see when you talk about the samurai is a samurai with a katana sword. That is the most. But then you can have lots of weapons that is not as common to see for lots of people. For example, heavy weapons and so on. Or if you have so I don't know if this video I just speculate, and the thing is some kind of what I hope for, that we see more like we see some kind of a warrior monk, and we see some kind of a maybe some kind of I don't know exactly what, but some kind of warrior monk. A warrior monk in Japan's medieval history is more like the crusader, like the crusade Templars in Europe, when they fight in Jerusalem. So that should be very cool to see some kind of warrior monk. So that can be a possibility that we can see some kind of warrior monk in the game. It looks like a shrine. But the only thing is it looks like they belong to a Japanese. It's a Japanese inspiration. I think so. I don't know, but it's some kind of. The only thing I can say for certainty is looks like is some kind of a shrine, but it can be a Chinese, it can be Japanese, it can be Korean. But the most likeliest, because of pop culture, is that it's Japanese. I don't really care if should be totally honest. I think the Paladin always do interesting characters in some ways, so I think it's always fun to see some kind of cool thing with the whole thing. Yeah, so we just have to wait and see, and I think we're gonna see. So if the final thing I say, if I only can choose two different speculation, one of them is the centoer, the other one is some kind of a warrior monk, and this kind of thing. So I hope you like it, and maybe tomorrow we're gonna have a second tease for the new champion, and then we're gonna maybe have more information who that champion is and so on. Okay, yeah, bye.